The world only moves for those who take control and force it to respect them. If you're not building, you're declining. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. If you're not winning, you're losing. Every man has two choices. Be the hunter or be the hunted. Be the man who writes the checks or the one who waits for payday. Success is not given, it's taken. Wealth is not stumbled upon, it's built brick by brick, with discipline and vision. The time for waiting is over. The time for hoping is gone. Now is the time to move, to build, to dominate. A man without money is a man without options. He settles for scraps instead of commanding the feast. The weak begin, the strong take. The poor complain, the rich strategize. The ones who hesitate get left behind. The ones who act become legends.
What's going on, everybody? It is Coach Greg Adams back in here with another Tales from the Dark Side. New world. Shout out to the Coach Gang. We back in here for Stream Mania. This is our last Friday of Stream Mania, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to take all of this work and see what we're going to do with it. This was an interesting project for me this month. Coming back from my trip from Asia, my 12 weeks in Asia, 11 to 12 weeks in Asia since November, and I had to come back in here and kick in the dough, wave in the fo. All I heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. I had to kick in the door and get back into my stream element, get back to work and get into the lock-in mode. So this is what Stream Mania was about. And it also gave me opportunities to, talk about topics that I might have missed while I was on vacation, and also test out some new material in some new lanes. And so we got that over on Twitch. We got that over on Ask Coach Greg Adams channel. We're introducing the daddy lifestyle, 50 Shades of Greg over here, 50 Shades of Greg over here on the Ask Coach Greg Adams channel as we're transitioning a lot of my content. You've seen that on Instagram, getting into 50 Shades of Greg, transitioning my content from Red Pill Rage, transitioning my content over to more of the JUCO, Get 'em Daddy, dominant, submissive daddy lifestyle over here. Transitioning. Lots of transitioning going on here, but we're going to talk about something very, very what's often left out in the JUCO conversation. It's the dominant, submissive nature of relationships, even in regular relationships. What's missing is the masculine man and the submissive woman, and it's often fumbled in conversations on the normie dating marketplace. It's often, I believe, a missing element, an element that women miss. And a lot of men underestimate this particular type of the lifestyle and getting into the relationship. This is why when you look at the 80-20 rule and you look at women cheating on their boyfriends or husbands, and they're cheating on them typically with a poorer guy or a wealthy guy, in the idea of 50 Shades of Grey, and they lose out on their girl, or they're basically, it's a hit and miss relationship where the woman wants to explore, but she feels a little bit guilty or embarrassed about asking for certain lifestyles in their relationships. And the relationship is a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss, and she can't introduce that. What'll happen is we have a marketplace called the monetized dating marketplace, I call it, or I also call it the JUCO, where women can explore this. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to show you. I got evidence. We're going to break it down for you like a fraction, as only I can. We're just not going to talk. We're going to show you. We're going to show you all of that stuff. And we hear about this more and more. When you're at the JUCO, you hear that a element that the women want you to bring is this particular dominant side of the relationship. And this is why typically you have older men and younger women. There's a power dynamic there that women want to explore. They also want to kind of control it and rein it in a little bit, but they want to explore it. And they rather go there to explore it than to try to find it on the normie dating marketplace. There's a common sound effect that I use that'll bring this home for you to understand.
I like to get dominated.
I like to
choked, whooped, spanked, told what to do. I need a man to take charge and let me just, be goofy.
Okay, you've heard that sound effect many times for many years on my show. But that's a prime example of what I'm talking about, where even young women who look kind of nerdy, maybe they're quiet. In this particular case, this is a little ling-ling, a small petite ling-ling. Well, she's not looking for a simp. She'll take one, but she'll marry one. But what she really wants is
I like to get dominated.
All right. Okay. And she's not kidding. One of the essence of me enjoying my ling years.
I cook, I suck, I shut the fuck up.
All right. One of the things that I'm enjoying is that natural masculine, dominant, feminine, submissive nature between men and women in relationships. Can I get this in the United States? I do get this here in the United States as well. But unfortunately, the way American women are built, they just don't have they may want submissive, but they don't appear submissive. So it's a little bit hard to wrestle these, well, let's just say it like this. I'm trying to keep it clean over here. All right. It's pretty hard to wrangle down these. I'm trying to not curse over here. I'm trying to keep it clean because, yeah, I have some plans for this particular channel to take it a little bit further. Even though it's demonetized, it's hard to wrangle them in. I actually had not a young lady. She was an older woman, and she professed that she liked to be in dominant, submissive relationship, especially sexually. And the thing is, she was a big woman. Like, she wasn't like wide. She was just tall, right? It was like, and I'm a smaller guy. She definitely liked it and was always available for me. But, that dynamic of where I'm like, let me jump up and grab you around the neck, just because she was tall. She's like 5'9" and very voluptuous, if you will. You will see her. If you saw her online, she's very sexy. Yes, she has a very online presence. Very sexy woman, man. Like, she has big fake boobies, big thick lip, hips. It's like all right. She got all that. Like, she's a very curvaceous, sexy older woman. She looks like very much a vixen. She has these very hypnotic eyes, blue eyes. And she's probably would more look like a dominate. She more looks like a dominatrix. All right. But her natural role, she likes to be submissive. And it's like, it's hard to wrangle her in. You know what I mean? Sometimes she goes with the flow. But to me, it's hard because I'm normally with 4'7", 4'8", 4'9", 5 feet tall Filipinas and Asian women, which it tends to be a lot easier to dominate, if you will, dominate. So we're going to talk about that. We may have some stories, but this is going to be the Tales of the Dark Side story right here.
I like to get dominated.
I actually forgot to invite some people over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Discord and locals, invite some people over and see if they want to join this particular stream. And maybe we'll get 500. We've been getting about 800 to 900 on these channels, which is amazing, dude. Do you guys realize there are people with big channels that can't get 500 to 800 people in their whole stream? And we have a very loyal audience that comes over and all of that. Okay, what do we got? All right. I got a monetization post from Twitter. All right. I always call it Twitter. But I guess I got a couple of dollars from Twitter. All right. I have a great team meeting with my editing team tomorrow. So that'll be some good information so they can have it there. So let me go on Discord and invite some people over. Somebody said they're live. Okay. So I'm live. They're live. All right. So we're live now. And let's see here. We'll invite them over. But yeah, there's large channels that can't get 300, 400 people in. And I got in the first 10 minutes that amount of people in here. So I'm blessed to have a very loyal audience. I was trying to look up where my Free Agent Lifestyle podcast ranks. And I couldn't get an accurate ranking, all right, based on my Spotify numbers. But they did say that I do have a loyal fan base or a loyal listening base right here. And it said, hosted by Coach Greg Adams, is a niche daily podcast focused on men's self-improvement with a dedicated audience, particularly in the U.S. It has a 4.6 rating on Spotify with over 460 stories, indicating strong listener engagement within a specific community. Shout out to you guys, man. Frequency daily podcast, 68% in here in the United States, 4.6 star rating. I'm hoping that's against 5. All right, 4.6 rating. Shout out to y'all, man. The only thing I'm really missing is monetization on these platforms. I mean, I would be a millionaire in here, but instead I'm a thousandaire. But it's all good. I love it. It gets me working and it gets me flowing. It keeps the creativity up, and I don't have to rest on my laurels. You know what I mean? Some people get monetized and they start getting in the dough and they get lazy. So it allows me to have to get back in here to work. But yeah, working around shadow banning and demonetization sucks, but it is what it is. No tears. Wah, 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 wah. I suffered through the years and shed so many tears. I got some toys that I brought for this particular show because the ladies are going to be here. Ladies, I got some toys.
Get him, daddy.
All right, it's Get 'em Daddy season.
Okay, daddy.
It's Get 'em Daddy season. Even in the PIMP culture, the word daddy is used a lot for the Mac daddy. The pimp is seen as a daddy, not a boyfriend. And so even in that culture,
okay, daddy,
there is a sense that there's this dominant submissive relationship. And this is why you find women indulging in that lifestyle. It's not that they want to sell punani. It's that they want to impress daddy.
Okay, daddy.
Okay. And you're like, a lot of men are like, why would women do this? We're going to get into the psyche of women. Because what you think women are and what you think women are not, it is bizarre. It's bizarro world. And this is why there's a dark side. Because women are interesting in their psyche. And another thing before we get started is you don't know who a daddy is. You know what I mean? Like a lot of guys think, it's a pimp daddy or a Mac daddy, or I remember a guy tried to be in my comment section. You're not a daddy. I'm like, how, bro? I got like 50, 100 women calling me daddy.
Okay, daddy.
So a lot of guys will try to determine what they believe women want in a daddy. It is not what you determine, guys. It's not, you don't get to determine that. The competitive nature of men, you don't get to determine that. The women get to determine that. They follow who they want to follow. So you can't determine with that jealousy shit. Right? You can't determine that. You're not really a daddy. I had a guy say that in the comment section. I'm like, who are you? Like, you don't determine that. It's the women that determine that, and they determine it for a variety of reasons. And you never know what it is. But we're going to get into the psyche of the young ladies here and take a look at some information. We're going to use some data. But do me a favor to contribute to today's show, if you will. $ the Notorious CGA on the Cash App, Venmo, Coach Greg Adams TV. PayPal is paypal.me/Coach Greg Adams. And that is near the top of the description box on the Free Agent Lifestyle or the Ask Coach Greg Adams channel. And you can super chat by clicking the link on the top of the live chat or the bottom of the live chat on the Ask Coach Greg Adams channel. I remember I had a young lady that was a JUCO, and she had been around I almost had her for about 3 years. And I remember, like, she called me daddy. Like, that was my name. Like, she never called me by my name. It was just daddy, 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 right? So my son was here, and I was doing a Twitch stream, and the woman was around. Like, he knew about her. He never really talked about her, but because he was filming the Twitch stream, like, and she was there the whole time, she's like, daddy, 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 can I do this? Daddy, that. And anytime she would talk to me, she's like, daddy. And then my son looking at this woman like,
Wait a minute. Who are you?
My son looking like, what the fuck? Like, He like, yo, like, I'm like, that's my dad. And I'm looking over, I'm like, I'm looking at his face like, hey, it is what it is. But she never switched characters. She never was like, oh, I better call him his name because his son's here. She never switched characters. She still was like, daddy, 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 hey, daddy, daddy, cut out that daddy. Like, and so he looking over. I could see he was like ignoring it, but I'm pretty sure the first couple of times he was like, but hey, Malo Poppy in the building. That dynamic exists. And when I'm in South America, it's Poppy, 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 Poppy. And some men will think it's weird. They'll be like, I can't remember who it was. I think it was someone famous or a content creator. It might have been like Shannon Sharp, but I might be wrong. They were like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with a woman calling me daddy or something like that. And you're like, this is why women cheat on y'all. I'm going to just let you know. This is why women cheat. This is why women cheat, because men kind of refuse to understand women. And this is why there's an 80-20 rule. This is why women have P's. This is why women go to the JUCO for sugar daddies, the idea sugar daddies, right? T Diamond saying the call her daddy. All right, podcast. This is why dudes miss out on a girl, because they're refusing to understand the psyche. I get it. You might be weirded out about it. Some women might, naturally want to call you that, and they're trying to insinuate that they're open to exploring even more. I found that when I deal with young women at the JUCO, sometimes they want it. I'm going to show you this. They want to experience it. They read about it. They watch movies about it, but they're open to explore. So they're like, teach me, the whole teach me idea. All right. When you look at the dynamics of old school role play, doctor, nurse, pilot, flight attendant, right? You have a maid, maid owner, house owner, maid, cheerleading coach. Football coach, cheerleader. That's an idea. Teacher, student. These are all in the psyche of women. All right. Men want this. Men actually look at this and want this as well, but it also plays into the psyche of women's being submissive. Although we do now have women wanting to be sugar mamas and be dominant and be, have pay pigs, that exists as well. But overwhelmingly, the overwhelming writing theme and feature of the JUCO is dominant daddy, submissive baby. A lot of guys don't know that. A lot of guys just think, oh, you're paying this girl to have intimacy with her. Well, not really, but yes. But at the same time, you're still role playing. You're still doing the role play. The role play comes with it. And that's what a lot of guys don't know, because they don't have a clue. They have no clue. They look at the guy as the trick. You're getting tricked on. But it's actually the opposite. It's actually the woman is coming over there to explore and be taught. All right. One of my most recent young acquisitions, if I will, she was like, I'm ready to learn. I want to learn. Teach me. Right. That was her whole thing. She was like, I want to be a good girl. And some of my verbiage that when I talk to the young ladies that I deal with at the JUCO, good girl, you're being a good girl for daddy. That plays into it, and they like it. It's kind of like when you pet a dog and you scratch his ear, they'd be like, all right. These things and phraseologies for women, they eat it up. They eat it up, and it's crazy, but it is what it is, especially when you're actually assertive. And in a sense, women ask for these things. They're kind of asking. Well, you have to understand what with women, they're going to ask you, but they're not going to tell you. So when a woman says they need a man to lead, oftentimes this is what they're talking about. They need you to be dominant. We need a man that leads. We need a man that puts plans together. That plays, okay? That plays into the psyche that they're asking for. Men think, oh, lead. I need to tell you what to do. I need to tell you where you can go. That's not what they're talking about. Telling them where they can go, controlling them with money to an extent. What they're saying is, we need you to be dominant so we can submit to you. So we need you to lead us so that you can teach us, so you can tell us what to do, so we can follow you. When that woman says, I just want to be goofy, a lot of that is played into it. Just like when women say you need to be 6 foot taller and above, we think it's some shallow feature that women have about men 6 feet tall and above. But the underlying message they're saying is, I want a dominant man that can pick me up, overpower me, push me around, throw me on the bed, pick me up and fuck me. This is what they're saying. Women are never direct and straightforward. They're kind of coming around the side and around and trying to see if you can pick up on the hints, so that when she's in bed, she feels small. That when she wants to do something, you could just stop her and grab her by the shoulder, the neck, the scruff of the neck. You know, you could just reel her in and pull her in. These are all things that they listen to, that they desire naturally, because they're submissive naturally. Okay. They want to talk Tony Robbins, tall guy with a deep voice. I was watching I don't even know what I was watching, a YouTube video, or I think it was a Netflix movie. Oh, yes, that's what it was. It was the Hulk Hogan documentary that just came out. And Linda Hogan, his first wife, was describing meeting Hulk Hogan for the first time. And she met him at a bar. And she described his physicality, his large arm. He came like, so she's describing all these dynamics, and she just wetter than the Niagara Falls. And then she says they go home that night, and he comes out of the bathroom without any clothes on. And she said, I guess I want to feel, she said, I guess I want to know what it feels like to fuck a giant. I'll take that back. She says, I guess I want to know what it feels like to be fucked by a giant. That's what she said. Sorry, I cursed. But she says, I guess I want to know what it feels like to be fucked by a giant. So that's what drove her into intimacy and drove her crazy. Now, if you're not a giant, if you're not masculine, that doesn't mean you can't be dominant. You can't be a daddy. You can kind of transform yourself into it. Okay. So for me, I'm muscular. You know what I mean? Like, I'm small, but I'm muscular. That makes up for the deficit a bit. Not for every woman. It does for enough. Because they're like, oh, he's got large arms, your shoulders, your traps, your back. They tend to be like, okay, that we'll take that trade off. That it doesn't mean I'll come before anybody that's 6'5" and 6'6". What that means is I have something that can trade off. Also being older, more established, being that I can mentor them, have a masculine beard. The beard, all right, people don't realize that beard plays a major game in a woman's psyche. Okay. A beard plays a major role in a woman's psyche. Not all women like facial hair. Some women that don't like facial hair, sometimes they're masculine. All right. But a feminine woman with a beard, they go crazy. All right. It is a crazy thing to have. All right. And I use it. I'm like, all right, this is what they like. They like, I want to touch it. I want to stroke it. Sometimes, not to get too graphic, when I'm doing my work inside of them, they're like this. They're like stroking my beard, like while I'm stroking them. Like, call it what it is, but it does happen. And not only that, the bald head. Okay. Not only that, the bald head. And T Diamond said a hairy chest. Hairy chest. You might think women wouldn't like that. Sometimes it is. And the bald head, dudes be like, you're bald. I don't know what it is. Some women like bald niggas. And then bald with a beard. So some women, that represents masculine. That represents dominant. Now, some women ain't about that. They just not on that. And what you have at the men, as a man, you have to understand, you're not there to please everybody. You can't let somebody tell you they don't like it when you know women like it. You know what I mean? You're like, well, shit. All right. The women that I'm with, they like that. And you can have some characteristics too. I tend to not have body hair. All right. I tend to like to get away from body hair because it makes me look a little bit better. All right. When I'm working on my body. But you will find that some women are turned off when men lack body hair. Yeah. Like, they don't want you to shave around your intimate area or nothing. They want you to be nasty, hairy, and musty. Asian women were obsessed with my under armpit like hair. They were obsessed with it because they were like, oh, wow, it's so curly. And they would play with it. One woman would smell it. She would just walk under me and be smelling me, smelling my under armpit with the curly nappy heads, the taco meat. Like, you know what I mean? You like, damn. She literally like would just lay up under me, smelling my arm, smelling up under my arm. And she want to stroke the pull up. She want to take the armpit hairs and pull them out, the nappy dugout. So, you know, for us, women are, to me, it's strange. Just like I'm pretty sure we're strange to women. You know what I mean? We're strange. We just don't understand each other, especially when, you know, we're always in a state of arousal and women are not. All right. And so when a woman's probably not in a state of arousal, she doesn't care about these things, where we're always in a state. And so women don't understand why we're always in this state. But it is what it is. And not only that, you're confident, right? This whole thing about confidence. When you're insecure, when you're displaying these things and women say you're insecure, right? They're not saying you're insecure. They're saying you're not dominant. We don't like men that are insecure. Oddly enough, I found that the more I try to control women and worry about them cheating on me, the more likely it's going to happen. The more likely they're going to get the ick. Now, when I don't give a fuck about them, I don't respond to their text messages. I don't chase them down. I don't give a fuck. Well, you can do whatever you want. All right, just see me when they see me. They love that. They like that. They like that. I don't care. So it's one of those things that's a marker of confidence. You're like, okay, he knows what it is. He knows what he got. He knows what he's dealing with, and he can still deal with me when I need to deal with him. So these are all things that turn men and women on, and women on specifically we're talking about. That's what gives the dominant, submissive nature between men and women. Sometimes you learn, sometimes you get it right. Sometimes you're with a woman and she might intend to be that with you and it doesn't work out. And sometimes it's a hit or miss. It doesn't work out with that woman. Sometimes it just works so smooth and she immediately falls into line and she tells what it is. This is what I want. And then you fall into line. You don't have to overdo it. It should be natural. But it is what it is, man. It happens. So shout out to Dinero Tranquillo, says, my Ravens headed to Brazil. Football and debauchery, worldwide JUCO. You know what they about to do down in Brazil. Dinero Tranquillo. They about to run roughshod down in Ipanema in Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro. You know what time it is. They about to go crazy. No government name. What up, coach? I think money changed me because now I don't want to be in a relationship, but I have a kid. Oh, the humanity. Yes, it does. Oh, the humanity. Okay. What do we tell you in the free agent lifestyle? When you get money, when you start to elevate up or you elevate up in status, you're going to look at relationships completely different. That's literally in the book. As opposed to when you don't have status and you don't have money, relationships seem to be something that is a desire for you. It's highly desirable because you think that's going to solve your problems. You think that's going to be your answer. You think that's going to help you. You think that's going to help you with money and status. So once you do that by yourself, you get status or money with outside of a relationship. You look at relationships as less needy. You're less needy. All right. Or you're like picky on type of relationship. You can actually choose the type of relationship as opposed to just taking what you can get. All right. So that's basically the basis of the free agent lifestyle. You know, shout out to J Flow, says, for the Freaky Friday stream. Appreciate you, coach. Wear your rubbers, and shout out to the coach gang. Shit going around. All right. Somebody says right here, and Steven says, you called the sugar daddy a bitch ass nigga, but you seem to favor the sugar baby and hate the sugar daddy. When men lose, you say charge it to the game. When hoes get exposed, you never mention charge it to the game. Being exposed are consequences when she does dirt. Well, in that particular case, he was not a sugar daddy. Okay, but I think that was at the end of today's stream. So he was not a sugar daddy in that case, but she was a sugar baby. All right. But he was being a simp. Okay. He was being a simp. So if I was, let's just say he knew he was a sugar daddy, and he and the woman ran all over him, then I would have said charge it to the game. In this case, he tattletailed. He snitched on the woman because he was simping, and then he blew her cover. She didn't need to be exposed. We don't expose women like that, bro. Like, one of the big things about sugar daddy, sugar baby experiences is discretion. When you're a sugar daddy and a baby, you realize discretion is important. You're getting there for discretion. What he was exhibiting is what a sugar daddy would not do. Blow her cover, call her job. A sugar daddy would never do that. A bitch ass nigga would, and a simp would, but a sugar daddy would never. All right. So that's why he catches a L. That's why he caught an L. All right. That's why I said he can't charge that to the game. He should have charged it to the game. A sugar daddy would have charged it to the game. Like, I've only once looked at the amount of money I've ever spent on a woman. One time. And I can't tell you how many women I've been with in the last 7-8 years of doing this. Okay. Right. But I've only counted one time how much money I spent on a woman. All right. And I couldn't get the exact total, but I could look at it because we had been together for 3 years, and I can kind of look at this and look at that. And then I looked it up. I was like, okay, right. But I was with her for 3 years, and I was just curious. All right. And I went over here and I looked at this app. I was like, oh shit. All right. And then I added up, oh shit, it wasn't always through the app. There was some here and there, but that was only one time. So other than that, you should not be counting and making an accounting of your expenses as a sugar daddy on a woman, because you chose to play the game. He chose to expose her because he was salty. He was simping. He was salty. He exposed her because he couldn't have her and control her no more. And he got very little from it. I guarantee you he didn't get much pussy from it. So he was out here trying to be a bitch ass nigga. Nah, you can't side with that. I can't slide with that. Right? I can't slide with that. He needed to get got. He needed to get exposed. But that was from earlier today, so I did miss that. All right, I wish I would have handled that, but that was at the end of the day. And Iggy says they've earned their money. Well, I mean, like, again, these are psyches that men don't understand, because we live in a culture where you're supposed to we're supposed to believe women are supposed to do the bare minimum or do all of this extra stuff and not get anything back. I can't co-sign for that. You guys, as men, you guys know, I know a lot of you, that's your philosophy. They don't deserve shit. They that's what they need to do. I don't co-sign that, because I understand managing and coaching people. You have to have reward systems. If you're going to be a boss and you have employees and you walk in there and they working their ass off and you say that's what they're supposed to do, they should get no extra reward because that's what they're supposed to do. Good luck. You're going to lose your employees. Your business is going to plummet. People need recognition. They need a reward system. They need something to work for. All right. And the check ain't enough. You know that as a person that's employed, the paycheck ain't enough. You like, that ain't enough. You like it when someone pats you on the back. You like it when someone gives you a promotion. You like it when someone gives you a gold star on the chart. You like it when someone recognizes you in a meeting in front of your coworkers. You like it when they throw a pizza party. You like it when they take you out for happy hour and pay for the dinner. You love this shit. You love this shit. You love it when at the sales meeting they throw out money in the air. You see what I mean? You love that shit. They don't have to do that, but I guarantee you, to boost morale and get you to repeat what you're doing, reward system is important. That's where you're going to get good people doing good shit for you. Rewarding is it. You like it when they give you that gold watch for your 10th anniversary. You love that shit. You like it when your parents give you $10 for every A you got on your report card. Yeah, you supposed to get A's, but when you bring home that A and your parents go $50 for every A, you see what I mean? So guys got to break out of that mold. That's why I got to get rid of that red pill nonsense where dudes are like, oh, she should just get nothing. She shouldn't get shit from me. She should just do this. And I'm like, I never been on that. I never will be. I never was like that. So giving rewards is important. Even if you're going to never see the woman again, give them that reward. It's kind of like tips for people who provide you good service. You don't have to, but it's great. And of course, if you plan to come back to that establishment, they will remember you. Oh, that was the person that gave me the $10, $20, $30 tip. They didn't have to. Send in my area. I'll get you this. They'll start getting you free drinks. The drinks are on me. Dessert is on me. Same thing with your dog. Your dog, you tell your dog sit. The dog's supposed to sit. But if you give them a Scooby snack, they're going to be like, they're going to sit. But I'm like, oh, you last time I sat. They be looking for the treat. See, these are things that men need to understand about the psyche of people. We're talking about people. We're not talking about women. This ain't the red pill over here, by the way. Right? This ain't the red pill. Like, we've left that bullshit. When we talking about the JUCO, there's no red pill over here. All right. So you need to understand we ain't trying to provide service for incels and men who hate women. We're not bringing that dynamic over here. We don't do that on Locals. By the way, if you want to join Locals, join the link, click the link. We don't bring none of that here. We teach you red pill experiences, right? What you can look out for from women, what you should do to vet. But we ain't over here talking that red pill nonsense bullshit. She a 4. All right. We ain't doing all that. Niggas be like, she a 4, coach. All right, she mid. All right, we're not doing that red pill shit. We at the JUCO. We enjoy our time. We enjoy good service provided. We enjoy playing our role over here. We enjoy the dominant, submissive nature of shit, and so forth and so on. All right, I'm trying to get to these super chats. Shout out to Justin O says the DOJ is bringing back the firing squad on you niggas. You niggas about to be target practice. What? Man, Donald Trump ain't playing. They bringing back the firing squad? Yikes. Mr. Handsome Paul says, I'll catch the playback, coach. Salute to the coach, the legend, the Supreme Sensei on the grind. Stream Mania Beesh, Niggy in the building. Free agent lifestyle for life. Shout out to Mr. Handsome Paul. Pause. I got your super chat and I read it. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. We in our Hollywood era here, and we do have a massive supporter here. It is Glenn P. He says, I got pink panties for you. LOL, support, brother. That's a co-sponsorship. We got pink panties for these bitch ass niggas here, man. Pink panties for these niggas. All right, anyway, check this out. Let me show you something. We're going to get into the psyche of this shit. The dominant, the submissive. One of the most popular books from the 20 teens to the 2019s. You already know where I'm going with this. Take a look at this data. 50 Shades of Grey was an immensely popular global phenomenon, selling over 15.2 million copies. These are books in the US alone, making it the best-selling book of that decade. The trilogy sold a combination of 35 million copies, the fastest-selling paperback ever. Originally fan fiction, it became a cultural sensation. 150 million copies sold globally by 2017. Okay. The rapid success, it became the fastest selling paperback in history, surpassing the Harry Potter series. Surpassing Harry Potter, nigga. Just think about this. That is a very, very big deal. Okay. That is a very, very big deal. So was the best-selling book of the decade. Now, what does that mean? This is why we're going into 50 Shades of Greg. Okay. That's definitely a great play. 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades of Greg. I just dropped the Y. The Y is ours. The Y is silent. Put a G right there. 50 Shades of Greg. Why? Because in my experience, what I've known is, and I've seen this happen, women read that book as a very, very light BDSM book. All right. It was not very aggressive BDSM book. It was very light, but it was an introductory book for a lot of women who were wanting to explore, but they didn't know how to explore. You have to realize women have been kind of kept away from this exploration for a long time. They were guilted out of it. They used religion against them from exploring this. But we went into a time where women, you know, they wanted to read Playboy magazine. They wanted to be playmates. So now they're reading this book and it opened up a lot in their psyche and they wanted to now explore. So they even had a song by Rihanna that I think was a part of the movie, but it came out around the movie. It was called S&M. And it was like, I like whips and chains and this and that and this and that. A lot of women were like, yeah, they're exploring. They're exploring this. So they're trying to figure out how they learn about it. And some women learn more and more. They went further into it. So now we're 15 years away from the original 50 Shades of Grey. And now you have more and more younger women wanting to explore it. Okay. So the dynamics in the movie was a very, very rich billionaire who was just taking the time for a young reporter who was a virgin. Young reporter who was a virgin. She had no sexual experience. She also gave some pushback on whether to sign the contract or not. She wanted him to fall in love, which eventually they did, which made it a little weird. All right. But she was willing to submit after a while and learn. This was a play. And by the way, she was very much a plain Jane in the movie. I don't know how she was depicted in the book, but in the movie, she was a plain Jane. She was a nerdy cardigan sweater wearing girl. Young too. The guy wasn't necessarily older, like that much older, like he wasn't 50, but he definitely was in his probably mid to late 30s. Okay. So in this one, you have to realize that in the psyche of women in exploration, 50 Shades of Grey was a turning point for women wanting to experience this. Okay. It was a massive turning point in the direction of the psyche of women wanting to openly explore this particular side of their sexuality. Now, check this out. I looked up some movies that feature these themes in the last 20 years. The Secretary, 50 Shades of Grey, The Duke of Burgundy, 365 Days, 9.5 Weeks. This is in the 1980s. They're saying internationally, The Piano Teacher. All right. You've also have Eyes Wide Shut, which women overwhelmingly will probably watch. Men, it's just too slow of a movie. Okay. And then when you go to Pornhub, the top genres for women, one was Lily Lintlicker porn. All right. Lily Lintlicker. Amateur porn, that's for everybody. Romantic sex, like romantic sex instead of aggressive sex. But then the next one was hardcore BDSM. Studies have shown that women are significantly more likely than men to look for rough sex, gang bang, and double penetration and dominant submissive scenarios. Okay, I'll pop it up here just so you can see it, and I use a little bit of research here. Okay. So it is women who are significantly more likely than men to look for rough sex. All right, rough. They like it rough. Okay.
I like to get dominated.
Okay. Gangbang, double penetration, and then dominant submissive scenarios. That's what we're talking about today. Men typically just looking for entry. All right. You're just looking for some friction and you're going to be done in 3 to 5 minutes or less. But it is the women looking for multiple men, for trains and this type of stuff. Dominant sex, dominant submissive. The women are the ones looking for this. Going forward here, showing you this. Going forward here. And I got some video examples here. Okay, turn that one off. Going forward here, you have music. I talked about S&M. So when you then go to music, there's several music songs that feature this. And one song is Mayores by Becky G, featuring Bad Bunny. And it's a Latin pop reggaeton song with women who is Becky G. Becky G's performing the song, preferring mature men who are gentlemen, who act with experience and treat her well. The lyrics often with suggestive double entendres, highlight a desire for someone who opens doors and sends flowers, double entendres. All right, mayores is older, particularly older men. The chorus, I like them older, the ones who are called Mr., the ones who open doors for you and send you flowers. I like them bigger or more mature, that I can't fit in my mouth. The kisses he gives me that drive me crazy. The verse, I don't want a boy who knows nothing. I'd rather have a guy who measures up. All right, so that is Mayores. Now, who introduced me to this song? Well, it was a young lady when I was in Panama. Okay. When I was in Costa Rica. Because if I'm not mistaken, Becky G is from Costa Rica. I might get it wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, it was a young woman in Costa Rica. She was like, listen to this song. There was another song she also introduced me to called Instructions. I can't find the song, but I think I might have found it, where the woman's in the song saying, give me my instructions. Tell me what to do. Okay. So, Becky G's Mexican. No, she Chicano. All right. Shout out to you Chicanos in the building. Arriba la raza. All right. Not Arriba la raza. Viva la raza. But the whole thing about the woman saying, give me instructions, is playing in that particular genre of music. And so that's why you have women that have this poppy. All right, poppy fetish, if you will. And some men desire it. Some men are like, they want to be called poppy. Some men see it as a little weird. But yes, mayores is another idea where you see a young woman. Let me see if we can pull up images of Becky G. Now, it doesn't mean she wrote the song, because a lot of times women sing songs that men write for them, right? But you see the thing playing out. That's Becky G right there. Somebody says she from LA. She a Chicano. Shout out to my Chicano raza. All right, that's Becky G, part of the mayores. All right, there's a nice little piece, little calico. Hello. Some people don't have the stomach already. All right, there she is. Now, I'm going to show you something else that went crazy this year that people didn't see, but I caught it. In America, what happened in America? Recently, there was a young lady who kind of starting to blow up. All right. I don't know. I've never heard a song, but recently her album cover featured that same dynamic. Sabrina Carpenter released this album cover. That was her original album cover. It went crazy. It went viral, but take a look at the dynamics. Having her hair pulled, her on the ground crawling, having a gentleman. This is another one. Picture a gentleman behind her, dominating, taller, tuxedo. All right. She's on the floor on her knees, being grabbed by her hair. Gentleman here, taller gentleman, Sabrina Carpenter. So that was another dynamic where you can see the dominant submissive culture being played out right in front of you. And not only that, she looks young. He looks older. He doesn't look greatly older. He doesn't look like my age older, but you could tell he's not a young guy, but they're expressing this desire or playing the magic up to it right there. Okay. So while dudes will be like, these young girls don't want you, it's actually to the contrary. We do now have a monetized dating marketplace for them to explore it in secrecy. Remember, we're doing this in secrecy. We're doing this to not expose women. We're not I don't want the women to expose me. I don't want to expose the women. We're not trying to make anyone look bad about their choices. What we're trying to do is enjoy each other making this choice. And sometimes money is spent based on this. Okay. A little bit further going into it. Let's talk about Kevin Samuels here. Kevin Samuels. One thing that people missed about Kevin Samuels that I picked up on is that he's the gentleman archetype. He's the gentleman archetype. While he might look and sound effeminate, he might even in his personal life explore those. I don't know about his personal life, but what did we know about Kevin Samuels? One of the things he was able to demonstrate is that he did not let women run all over him. I NWO'd myself. My bad. All right, I did that on my own. All right, let me see if I can do this. I did that on my own. My bad. All right, I mentioned Kevin Samuels and they kicked me off the stream. All right, so we're back. All right, Kevin Samuels. What do we know about Kevin Samuels? All right, Kevin Samuels was able to demonstrate that he did not let women dominate him. And you would have to actually wonder why women would keep calling into his show. Why did women keep calling into his show? One of the parts is that they actually liked to be talked down to. They liked to be put in their place. They liked the challenge. They liked that he didn't back down. They liked that he wasn't a bitch ass nigga. See, why you would think that they wouldn't like it, by them continuing to call in all the time, demonstrated that they liked it. Right? That's what they wanted. They finally got a man to stand up to their loudmouthed ass. And dudes loved it too. We like, finally, a guy that won't let them run over. But actually, they tried to call him names, sign language, and whatnot. But the reality was he played the gentleman archetype, a desirable quality and feature of what women like of men. You might disagree with that, but I think that that was a very, very big drawing point for Kevin Samuels. Not only for men, but it actually drew women in. Because the stuff that they usually got away with, he was very much daddy to them. He was a father figure to him. He was a father figure to the males. He was a father figure to them women. He did not let them get over. Okay. So that for Kevin Samuels, you see that even his introduction into the world, into the YouTube space, represented that daddy figure, the dominant male. Even though he had effeminate characteristics, you don't have to be loudmouth and this. He used his words to dominate them, and he used their words against them, and he controlled them. When he said be quiet and he muted them, they had to be quiet to get back on, to get their attention. All right, so that was another feature that we saw in our lexicon where a dominant male was able to ascend to heights. And it's just because you think you know what a dominant male is, it's not necessarily what women might find as dominant. Just because you loud and boisterous doesn't mean you're dominant. Okay, Kevin Samuels wasn't loud and boisterous, but he was dominant. Okay, and he was able to dominate those women, and those women kept calling in. Did they call into your show? You're yelling and screaming and arguing and aping out and chipping out? No, you might think you're an alpha male, but them women will never call into your show. All right, they went into his show because it was a challenge. All right. Yeah, he kind of bent the knee to the celebrity women, but as you can see, you know why? Because he wanted to be in that lane. He wanted to be doing YouTube live streams forever. At that point. All right, giving you some more. Do y'all got the stomach for this? Do y'all got the stomach for this? Are y'all learning? Let's give you some more. The top podcast for women. Number one is Crime Junkie. Number two is Joe Rogan Experience. Number three is Dateline. But the top shows that are hosted specifically by women, Call Her Daddy. The Call Her Daddy podcast. When it comes to lifestyle and relationships, female host led show, it is the Call Her Daddy podcast. What is the Call Her Daddy podcast centered around? Smut. Women telling their biggest 304 experiences, whether they're innocent or not, celebrity or not. Smut. It's a smut show. It's a 304 show. That's what it's centered around. Call Her Daddy. Daddy's in the phrase. So when you listen to Dominant Daddy, Submissive Daddy, it's right in there. It's right in there. It falls right in line. The Call Her Daddy. That's something that attracts the women. Just the name of the show attracts the women. Call Her Daddy. I'm with it. Which is a matter of fact, check this out. This is an article right here. It says more people than ever are reading erotica and smut. And here's why. Not just more people, more women. Studies have shown that women are on the rise as the leading audience in reading and listening to erotic fiction. People are motivated to read erotica for various reasons, and each reason can differ from person to person. But here are some common reasons why women choose to read this sexual subject. Number one, their fantasy environment provides a safe and consensual way to explore diverse sexual kinks or desires. It allows individuals to indulge in imaginary scenarios and imaginative scenarios and scenarios that may not experience in their everyday lives to the amount of their liking. That what it should say right there. It should say liking. It says linking. That's why I was like, what? So this is what I said about the junior college. A lot of people don't know that a prominent feature in the junior college is kink, sexual exploration, daddy, baby. That's why they call them sugar babies. That's why they call them sugar daddies. A lot of women come over there because in their personal lives, they can't get that from their boyfriend. Their boyfriend might be not dominant, but she loves him. But she can explore that as a sugar daddy. Also, a woman might be able to say, because a guy will say, well, she can get that normally from a guy like him. You know, a guy like me, I'm a guy. Well, there's only so many guys like you. So she doesn't want to explore that randomly. She wants to select it. So if she wants to, if she wants to date a guy off Tinder, she might say, oh, he looks dominant, but goes on a date and he's a pussycat. If she has to find out by random, it's just too much work. It's a waste of time. She just goes home disappointed. Whereas at the JUCO, she can bring that out. Everybody can know. You don't judge them. She's going to go home. She doesn't have to worry about if you're going to judge her. It's kind of implied that dominant culture is going to be there. So she brings that there. She can guarantee that is going to happen. It's not just the money. She can almost guarantee that you're going to be dominant or a daddy. She's young. Her boyfriend's 25, right? You're 45, 50, 55. You're more likely to be a gentleman archetype, a dominant, a daddy. You're more likely to accept this position. Not only that, you're more likely to accept that she's like that and you don't judge her. So she can bring that out. What's bringing that out of her? 50 Shades of Grey, Introduction into Smut, Mayores, the music, Sabrina Carpenter album. You don't think those play into her psyche? She already has it there, but now she's seeing more and more of it reinforced. So she wants to explore it. She wants to learn. She doesn't want to coach a guy into it. Her boyfriend's 27. She's 26. She don't want to coach him into being a dominant. But sometimes those guys can be dominant over her, and that's why they deal with those guys, and they don't deal with you pussycats. Okay? It says erotica can be read for arousal or sexual stimulation. The descriptive and explicit nature of the content can be sexually arousing and can enhance one's sexual experience. Some participants say it gave them ideas or confidence to use these plans in the bedroom. They got ideas. Smut often evokes intense emotion and create a sense of intimacy between the reader and the characters. People can learn to connect with the characters. We'll skip that one. Like any form of nonfiction, readings not safe for work subjects can serve as a means of escaping from everyday life and providing temporary relaxation. One thing you'll find is that the JUCO is an escape from everyday life. The JUCO is an escape for men and women from everyday life. You're meeting at a hotel. You're taking a woman out dressed up for dinner. This is not what you would normally do, but you can exhibit that. You're doing a gentleman, lady. This is normally not how you act. You're also meeting someone in a strange house, going up to the room, getting tied up to a bed. You're escaping. You're not going through a regular date. There's anticipation. There's risk. There's fantasy play, role play. I had women that like to dress up. They would bring costumes. They would bring all this stuff. Can I dress up like a Catwoman? Can I dress up like this? Can I dress up like that? Can we do this fantasy? Can we role play? The last one was prawn literature can be a source of edumacation and learning about various aspects of sexuality, relationships, and human desires. All right. let me show you this. We're going to show you some. We're going to do some show and tell. We're going to do some show and tell. We're going to show you that daddy is here. Not for you niggas, but daddy's here for the ladies.
Get him, daddy.
All right. So when they come over here, they know it's time. All right.
Okay, daddy.
It's time. They getting top. I have never had a woman say no. I have never had a woman say no. When I pull these out, they always say, yes, daddy. They always say,
okay, daddy.
They're always ready to go. Soon as they see this, they be like excited. Yes. Ready to go. When I bring that out, they always ready to go. Always ready to go. Blindfold. They're ready to go. The only thing they might ask is, did you wash it from the previous woman? That's the only thing I've ever been asked about this. Is that clean? Did you wash it from the previous woman? Because you know how women are. But when I bring that out, they like,
okay, daddy.
where's my, oh, here it is. Okay. When I bring this out, I said, before we get started, I need you to wear my chain. Put that around your neck. And she like this. As soon as she see that, she ready to go.
I like to get dominated.
I like to
Choked, whooped, spanked, told what to do. I need a man to take charge and let me just, be goofy.
They ready to go. This is what your girlfriend does when she comes over. That's what your girlfriend wears. Now, if she fat, she can't get this around her neck. This is only for the petite girls. Only for the petite girls. This is why I say I like them a certain age, because when they a certain age, they too fat to get this around their neck. All right. But when I say to wear that, they be like, put it on me, daddy. They can't wait. The only thing they ask is, who wore that before me? Who wore that before me? But nobody ever says, take that shit off of me. I'm not doing that. You're weird. Never. Not once. Turn around. Take off your clothes. They be ready. Let me spank that. There's a way you do it. There's a rhythm that you do it. You teach them. They ready to go. See, when you at home giving them that 5-pump chump, that 5-stroke special, that 5-minute in and out, that I don't care. Women's desires, where's the red pill at? Women's desires don't matter. Women's orgasms are irrelevant. When I hear that red pill goofy shit, I look and I go, these are some 5-pump chumps. 2-pump chumps, 5-stroke specialists. These niggas know nothing about and then what did you find out? Them niggas don't have girlfriends. Them niggas don't have. What did you find out? You're like, God damn, bro. Are you that whack in bed, nigga, that you can't bring no desire? Sex is more than penetration, especially for women. You want to have fun? But guess what? When you're dealing with older women, they've already been there, done that. With younger women, you get to teach them. Come here. Let me show you. The lace collar and leash. Oh, y'all not ready for this. The leash. I'm about to dog walk this. I'm about to dog walk this. I'm going to tell you something. This is going to shock you. This is going to shock you because it's get 'em daddy season out here, bro. We done bossed up away from the red pill. You see this shit? The red pill can't handle this.
Get 'em daddy.
I can count on two hands the amount of women that have asked me, young women that have asked me if they can go in Nova's cage. Yes, these are your girlfriends. They were like, I want you to put a collar on me and I want to be in Nova's cage locked, and then you can let me out. And then you can dog walk me with the collar. These are your Gen Z daughters. These are the girls y'all cold approaching. And I'm sitting there like, say less. I got you a collar and a leash. See, y'all think the JUCO is just this place where a dude pays money and he gets 5 strokes and then she leaves with the money counting it. And then he feeling stupid, like, damn, cost per nut. That's not how it goes. It is dominant, submissive, more than likely. Okay. Ankles and wrists with the strap. You tie that around the ankles and the wrist, and you get to control access. Y'all not ready. You know who brought this? A woman, 24 years old. She brought it over. She was like, Daddy, this is what I want you to do. Tie this around my ankles and my wrist. There's another strap. And she was like, just take control on me. I'm your puppet. Say less. All right. I got you.
Get 'em daddy.
Cool with me. She was a JUCO. That's what she wanted to do. Fine with me. Okay. So this is the dynamic that men don't realize. The younger women, age 18 to 30, already thinking like this. It's the men, you're thinking like this, but you're thinking kind of nasty, amateur prawn. The women are thinking they want to explore. They want to be taught. So part of the dynamic of the JUCO is dominant, submissive. Sometimes it's the woman the dominant and the man submissive, but that I think it's rare. But that's the stuff that triggers men because a man will be a pay pig, but the woman will act like the pay pig never gets sex. But that's not true. She actually has to do that. But a part of that dynamic is that experience. She can experience that, and then she can compartmentalize it, leave it there. She can leave me there, go back to her boyfriend. Go back to her boyfriend and have missionary, unenthusiastic, not burning desire, so forth and so on. Okay, let me show you some more. We're gonna show you some more. Are y'all appalled? Are y'all appalled? Do y'all have the stomach? Okay, y'all have the stomach.
Do you have the stomach?
They ain't got the stomach. Men are out here going crazy. And here's the thing. Check this out. If you don't have the stomach, one of the reasons why men are not successful with women today is you guys don't have the stomach. Sorry. Some of the reasons why women can't express themselves on the regular dating marketplace is because men are judgmental. Men are judgmental. When you're judgmental and you don't not have, like, if a woman asks me, like I said, several women have seen Nova cage. I can fit in that cage. Daddy, I want you to put me in the cage and dog walk me. I'll be like, okay. All right. Say less. That's fine, because we've already probably experienced some other form of domination or recording each other or something like that. No problem. That's just an extension of what we're doing. But what guys will do is they'll get freaked out. Oh, what? What kind of 304? How many men have you done this with? This is why women be like, shh, I'll go to the JUCO. Huh? So this is why when your girlfriend cheat on you with Rollerblade Rico, it's because Rollerblade Rico ain't judgmental on her freakiness. Rollerblade Rico go with the flow. Whereas you're like, man, I bet you do this with other men, and how many other men, and who taught you this, and something. This is why dudes get cheated on. This is why y'all get played. Because she like, I can't bring up my deepest, darkest fantasies to this bitch ass nigga. All right, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Look at this. This is a ecclesiastical woman, plain Jane, glasses, what you would think is a normie chick. She says, when you're outside listening to your audiobook loudly and it gets to the spicy scene, sorry, neighbors. Okay. Yes, the regular girls, they're listening to this stuff. So they're eventually going to experience it. They're eventually going to want to go outside. They eventually they're going to want to be out here tied up, dog walked, spanked. Because it's there. They're not going to tell you. They'll tell the internet before they tell the men. But it's there. Let me show you another one. This is a young lady. And I picked these women specifically because these women are the regular women, like people like the average plain Jane stock issue Becky. She says, readers fighting to keep a straight face in public. Listen to what she's listening to at the gym when y'all thinking about cold approaching her or she a 4. This is what she's listening to at the gym.
Now, be a good girl and take that off for me. He growls, let me see what's mine. My hands tremble as I slowly unbutton my shirt. My exposed breasts feel heavy, and I can see his thick member reacting to the sight of them. I whine when he refrains from touching them, a low, needy sound I've never made before escaping my lips. He gives me a smug smirk, so impatient. I gasp when his calloused hands finally reach for me, and I can't help it. I lunge for his enormous cock. Now, be a good girl and take that off for me. He growls, let me see what's mine. My hands tremble.
Look at her. She like, yes, daddy. All right. She like, yeah.
Okay, daddy.
And then you come up to her. Hi, what's your name? Sally. My name is Jim. What's your favorite color? Okay. And then she looking at you weird like, I'm busy. You ever walk up to a girl and she like, what? Because she listening to some smut. You think she listening to music. She listening to this shit. And you walk up on her at the gym. She looking at your ass like, what, Nick? What? Wait, you interrupted my shit. So I want you to always think that when a woman's at the gym, she listening to smut. She not listening to music. You literally just interrupt them for her from her story. She getting all wet and punani getting leaking. All right, she like, man, you need to do this shit. Let me pull your hair, all right, because that's what she listening to on the goddamn podcast. All right, let me show you another one right here. Let me see here. This is a ling ling, also a nerdy ling ling. Okay, this nerdy ling, you see her right here. All right, I would call her a nerdy ling. Okay. She says, when I'm listening to audio smut so good that I don't need to pause because it's women owned, not by weird men on the internet. So she's showing you all the smut that she listens to, and it's woman owned, women made, allegedly. All right. But there it is. Look, she laughing. She like, yep. All right. Clock that T. Clock that T. Yep. Merp. See, what you have to understand is it's not the 304s. It's all women are listening to this to an extent. And they're there. They want to be dominated. So when they date you and you come with some whack shit and you lead in whack.
I like to get dominated.
That's what she thinks.
I like to
Choked, whooped, spanked, told what to do. I need a man to take charge and let me just, be goofy.
All right. Let her be goofy. She like to be dominated. She like assertive men. She don't like this pansy ass and lying and manipulating. She like, pull my hair and spank me. Now you can't lead with that, but you will exhibit it on how you are confidently presenting yourself. And she will know. She'll fall in line. She might even be peeping you out. This is another lane here. There's 2 more lanes I want to discuss because it's almost 8:30. This is going to be hardcore for the men. And as a man, if you're not any of these things, you can grow into it. You can learn. You can experience. But there's a thin line, nigga. There's a thin line between this and domestic violence. If you can't pull it off, you can't pull it off. Okay, you can't pull it off. Don't try to fake the funk. But consensual, non-consensual, it gets worse. Consensual, non-consensual. CNC. CNC is a BDSM practice where participants mutually agree to act out scenes involving simulated non-consensual, such as grape play or forced resistance. Guys, I had 2 linglings wanting me to do this. Bad. Now, I said no. Right? I said nope. This lingling used to say, when are you going to grape me? I swear to God. I was like, ma'am, listen. She said, I am. And I told her, I said, I have too much notoriety to be out here doing this. I'm not that type of nigga. But she used to say, when are you going to grape me? Sometimes when we were in bed, she was like, grape me. I'm saying the G word. And I'm like, no. She will also ask me to hit her. And I'll be like, no, punch me. I'll be like, and I'll be like, nope. I have to draw the line because I'm like, I'm not going to have you at the police station. Because these are the same women that be at the police station tattletelling on you and taking pictures. All right. Same thing as when you kind of choke them or kiss them or put a hickey. They'll go in the bathroom and they'll be in the lighting looking at it and they'll be putting their phone. And I'll be like, don't record yourself. Don't record them marks. But yes, consensual, non-consensual is a thing. It is pre-negotiated, high trust scenario where consent is given beforehand to temporarily ignore it during the act, making it safe, fantasy-driven experience. Yes. Kidnapping, abduction, grape play, non-consensual simulation, struggle, plead, resist, dominant, top, submissive, bottom, surprise, ambush, non-consensual act, walking, bursting in the window, tank top looking like 50 Cent, and forced submission, dominant demands despite verbal or physical resistance. I draw the line here. I draw the line significantly on this. All right. If that's what they want, I definitely ask or tell her to go get someone else. All right. For that. Now, I've only had a few JUCOs request this. I would say maybe 2. I know one for sure, but I'm pretty sure there's been another one. But I draw the line there. All right. I don't want to go get involved in that because that to me tells me she has some mental issues that I can't trust her to keep the secret safe. All right. She has some trauma. Maybe she was raped in the past or something, maybe molested by a cousin or uncle or some shit like that, that I'll be like, I can't do that. And plus, I don't want to risk what I have just on the fact that she later on something happens in a relationship and she's upset. Then she goes back to a scenario like that. So I draw the line on that, but that's part of the female psyche. So much so that if you actually dive deeper into this, a lot of women have grape fantasies. All right, which takes it down to another level of understanding that it says right here, it says the nature of women's grape fantasies and analysis of prevalence, frequency, and content. 62% of women have had a grape fantasy, at least one, which is somewhat higher than previous estimates. For women who have had grape fantasies, the median frequency of these fantasies was 4 times per year, with 14% of participants reporting that they had grape fantasy at least once a week. 14%. Okay. In contrast, the previous research would suggest that grape fantasies were either entirely aversive or entirely erotic, great fantasies were found to exist as on an erotic aversion continuum, with 9% completely aversive, meaning against it, 45 completely erotic, and 46 both erotic and aversive. So let's just focus on this 45%. Of the people who had erotic, great fantasies, 45 thought it was completely erotic. Whereas 46% said it was a mix. They enjoyed it, but they thought maybe, I wouldn't want that to happen. Oh, I don't know. All right. They really didn't know. Of course, we're dealing with women. Okay. So that does play into what happens. Sometimes that leaks over into the JUCO, or it leaks on to regular relationships. This is why they deal with pookies. This is why they deal with gangbangers. This is why they deal with PIMPs. You think that they're a victim, and they can make themselves out to be a victim. But if you dive deep into the psyche, that's dominant submission. They're naturally going to think of things like that. Like guys naturally might think, unfortunately, unhealthy things about relationships and how to deal with women. Right. Let me see here. Women who have, let's see if I can get this right here. Okay. Says right here. And we'll just use AI. We don't know if this is the case. We'll just use this as a quick study. Great fantasies are reported across a wide range of ages, but studies often highlight a high prevalence amongst young women, particularly in college age samples, 18 to 21. Your daughters, your nieces, these are people that watch 50 Shades of Grey, read the book, listen to smut in the gym, want daddy. All right, daddy, dominant daughter. Them young girls don't want. It says right here, young adulthood, a significant study of 355 undergraduate women, mean age 18 to 21, found 62% reported having a grape fantasy. Okay. College age. Do you have the stomach? Okay.
Do you have the stomach to watch a girl that you really love?
You ain't got the stomach. All right. Let me see if I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I'm going to close these windows up, but that's pretty much what happens over here. Even going as far as understanding the idea that there's multiple men in the room, a woman wanting to experience a threesome, meaning that they'll have young women that'll say, I want to see you with another woman. They can guarantee that at the JUCO now, as opposed to their boyfriend. Their boyfriend, he might not want another guy in the room, right? Or he might feel weird, about bringing another girl in there. I'm going to ruin the relationship. All these things jump into your head. Whereas at the JUCO, these women will be like, Daddy, I want to see you with another woman. I want to participate, bring another woman, have another woman there. I have women even in other countries that do the same thing. I want to see you with another woman. I want to be with another woman. Here's a friend, be with her. I'll just be in the bed. Sometimes they play. Sometimes they're bi. But that happens a lot more at the JUCO, all right, than it does on the regular marketplace. It's pretty much hard to pull that off for a regular guy to get involved in like threesomes and orgies. It's easier at the JUCO or stuff like that. It's easier over there. And some people, you don't even need the JUCO for that. They have parties. They have groups on FetLife. You're able to organize it. But then you're in a public group of people, and it's hard to express yourself. Check this out. I'm going to leave it at this. Met this young Ling Filipino chick here in Las Vegas. She was about 23 years old. I met her. You would never know she was JUCO, right? You would never know. I mean, I would say maybe you would know, but she was like very quiet, wasn't loud. The only thing she had was eyelashes, right? That was the only thing. She didn't have heavy makeup. She had long dark hair. She didn't dress completely provocative, but she she would dress, I would say, very sultry, but not sexy and provocative. She told me some stories like about her, and I was like, damn, you're only 23. She told me her life as a young person. I was like, bruh, I'm like, this woman got into it. This woman was into it. You would never know some of the stuff she told me, but I'll leave it at this. One of the stories she told me was that when she lived in Northern California, she messed with an older guy in his 60s. So he's in his 60s, white guy. She's in her 20s. At this time, she had to be like 21, 20. Do you have the stomach? And I'm like, golly. She said, well, he couldn't get it up. He couldn't perform in the bed. She was like, he had no ability to perform in the bed, but he still was at the JUCO type shit. And I was like, what did he do? She was like, oh, he got fingers. She had fingers and tongues, right? But he could not perform. But one of the things he wanted her to do is he wanted her to get a train ran on her. And I'm like, so he took her to a party. He paid her, took her to a party. And she said 6 dudes ran a train on her, bruh. And this woman, 21. And I was like, train. I was like, bruh. I was like, I said, man, what? Train. And I was like, bro, y'all would never, if you met her, you would never think. You would never think that. You would never think. Like, if you met her, you would never think. But and I'm like, man, these women get into some shit. And she told me that before I was about to beat it up. So, I always tell women to save your nasty stories after I have sex with you, but don't hit me with the story before I'm about to throw the condom on. All right. Cause I'm gonna have Mr. Limpy showing up. All right. But we get in here. We tell you over on Locals. Y'all got to join Locals. It's CoachGregAdams.locals.com. That was a preview of what goes on over here. It's just a thorough understanding. One of the big features is we don't judge. All right. Judging is going to get you bumped out of there. When women tell you stuff that they do, you got to have a straight face. All right. You got to have a straight face. You got to just be like, I'm not shocked. For me, I've heard so many things and seen women do so many things, and I've seen regular women do so many things that just is mind-boggling. And I see guys out here on the regular marketplace. I'm like, y'all don't have a clue, bro. Y'all don't have a clue of what these people getting into, especially young women. I'm like, bro, these young women are chaotic. They're crafty. They're sneaky. They get into it, man. Especially with the internet and social media and their ability to go and bounce on, celebrities and local celebrities, and they get into it. Most of the men don't know what the hell going on out here. And then when I hear dudes telling me what's going on and it's contrary to what I see going on at the JUCO, I'm like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. You don't know what you're talking about. Even the dude's like, that's tricking. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know what's going on over here with your 5-pump chump. So men are completely left out of the loop. And unfortunately, they end up marrying these girls. That's where the dynamic gets skewed, is because these girls end up getting married. Dudes thinks these girls ain't going to get married. They do. I see them get married all the time. I see them getting engaged and having boyfriends all the time. It's very common that these women end up wives or a girlfriend, or they're already in a relationship. Very common. And what happens is the guys don't have much experience, and this woman has experience that guy has no clue about. And you're just like, right? You just like, man, this dude don't have a clue what he getting into. Because she done it all. This is why the whole I'll settle down. Oh, this thing right here, that shoe. We're tired of the jerks. We're exhausted. I'm like, yeah, they're exhausted, all right, because they done it. Quick story. Have you ever been on a date when a woman asks you what's the freakiest thing you've done and where? And you were like, well, this one time we were on a park bench, and she looking at your ass like, A park bench. This woman has been on top of cars, on top of hotel suites, and airplane bathrooms. She done been getting this train ran on her by 6 dudes just for the fuck of it. This woman have been in hotel suites, on balconies at hotels. All right, with 2 niggas behind her, boats with old men behind her lined up in a line jerking. Yeah, elevator. They done it all, bro. Then you talking about this one time, it was late and the park lights went out and I was on a park bench. All right. Like, oh wow. And she'd be like, you ever had a threesome? You'd be like, no, but I want one. And she'd be like, I have 7 already. You're like, huh? What, 7? And she's not even 25 years old. You're like, golly. That's what's going on. Somebody said a police cruiser with a police officer. They had a police officer and they let the police officer hit. All right. And then they went on their ways. So that's what point we're at. And I'm like, man, this is going to be an interesting thing to see in the next 20 years, that men lack so much sexual experience. Women lack too much not too much. They lack a greater amount of sexual experience. And I want to see how these people are going to be when they're 30 and 40 and 50. This is why you're going to see older women going for younger men. Because these men need experience. They're going to need some fucking practice. All right, let me do this real quick. I'll check the super chats. Teron McAdams says Miller's Girl is another movie example. DHHT. I can't even say all of that, but Miller's Girl. Miller's Girl is another film, 2024. And it's about, let me see the overview. Miller's Girl, a student and a teacher who, I remember this. A student and a teacher enters into a complicated relationship after a creative writing assignment. I remember seeing a preview for that. But that's an example too. And there you go. That's with that looks like Wednesday Addams. I might have to watch that. But that's another example too. Whereas you would think women are going to be like, why would they put that out there? There's a dynamic there that the women are exploring. College professor, older, mature man, more knowledgeable. There she is. Ooh, tender love. That Ortega woman, Jenna Ortega, is a nice, delicate, scrumptious little thing right there. Somebody said Lolita. Yeah, Lolita is another one of those movies. Crush. I think The Crush, Lolita. That's another one of those movies where I just think, man, young girls explore and they put themselves in certain positions based on certain things, and then the men get blamed for it. Or they get blamed for it. You predator ass nigga. American Beauty, another one. And a lot of these are going to be passed off as a guy. Oh, these guys are writing about this. But as you've seen, dude, that happens. It happens, unfortunately. Shout out to our brother Hustle Every Day, says, I appreciate, not respect, for sure 304 if she can stay cool and be down with the program. It's a win-win on both sides. Does she want money? Do you want the punani? Let's be adults here. And you also have to know a lot of these relationships flame out really fast. So you will find that you will have a relationship with the woman and it's dominant submissive. And then what'll happen is, she'll kind of come to her senses and then she'll want to go back to normal. So most of these experiences that I've had, some women have stayed around for years. Some women come and go. So don't think that these are going to be long-term relationships necessarily. You can have one, but I've had one, but they're necessarily don't think that they're going to be there long-term. Because sometimes they just want to explore. They just want to experience, and then they experience it, or maybe you don't handle it right, or she's not ready, and then it goes away. I had a woman that was literally like that, and then she was gone, ghost. All right. 1 minute she texts me, here's my schedule, daddy. I'm available for you as much as you want. Then I text her back. She was gone. All right. Like overnight. She was raring to go. I've been with her for like a couple of months, and she was on. She was like, teach me. And then the next day, crickets. So a lot of women go back to the normie marketplace. They got what they got out of it. Shout out to Larry C. Says, a recent student of mine told me that a branch of math known as chaos theory, the butterfly effect, can be used to connect the events of 9/11 to the writings of 50 Shades of Grey. Thought it was a fun fact relating to tonight's topic. Shout out to you and the Coach Gang. So the chaos theory can be connected to 50 Shades of Grey. Interesting. De Niro Tranquillo, I wrote a detail on IG about an episode I had with a chick. I wrote it like a story and the women ate it up. To this day, it's the most likes that I've ever gotten. Last time I checked, it's got 15,000 likes. He says, you got to get them in their minds and emotions. And gentlemen, the bar is low. I mean, the 80-20 rule doesn't just suggest that women go after the winners. They go after the dominant men. Even if the dominant guy is broke. Even if the dominant guy is rich. Right? A lot of that 80-20 is that the women are just keying in on the dominant men. All right, this guy is dominant. He's a leader. He knows what he wants. Even if he knows what he wants and it's completely wrong. Him says, had a JUCO who said she wanted a DP. I told her, hell no, I draw the line. I ain't slapping nuts with no dude. I did not have the stomach. And I would have drew the line there too. I would have been like, nah, I had no. But I did have a JUCO that wanted to invite a transgender. All right. I was like, you sick, bruh. She was like, well, what's wrong? What's wrong with a lady dick? I was like, okay, you gotta go. She wanted to invite a trans. I was like, no. She was like, but you gotta remember, this is Gen Z. But I was like, hell no. And she was like, you sure? She was like, these alpha males love it. I was like, absolutely not. No way. Was it in Thailand? No, it was in the United States. It was here in the United States. I was like, damn. But do you have the stomach? Is DYHTS. Do you have the stomach? Miller's Girl. I'm going to watch that tonight, maybe. I didn't think about shit. I was like, nah. Hell no. What the fuck? But somebody said she too freaky. Yeah, she was a freak. All right. She was too freaky, man. I was like, man, you crazy as hell. But she was like, hey, these alpha males like it. She was like, these guys, she was like, this is what she said. She was like, you don't know, but a lot of these red pill guys are secretly undercover. She was like, and I was like, how would you know that? She was like, I know. She was like, I know. They talk that shit like they alpha, but they be getting pegged. I was like, man, I was like, you crazy. Rudolph says, is this local or YouTube's? All women are open-minded. The majority of men are closed-minded. You can tell them, but you can't teach them. The $1 Million Man, Greg DiBiase. Oh, I love that. The $1 Million Man, Greg DiBiase. Time to flash those dollars. Shout out to you. Money, 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 money. Rudolph with the sponsorship. Be giving them a taste of local so they can sign up. I'm rich, bitch. So they can sign up. Money, 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 money. All right, the $1 Million Man, Greg DiBiase. Shout out to you, man. Hey, look, join us over on Locals. We get it in. We show you. Like over here, we can't show you stuff because this is YouTube. And a lot of these streams are going to get pulled, just so you guys know, and clip and all of that stuff. This is just for Stream Mania. We're not going to do this and be talking about this every week, but I'm going to start putting out short form content on this channel related to these subject matters in a broad, vague reality. But we talk about this at the junior college, and not only do we talk about it, we show you. We don't show you in particularly to expose the women, because this is not the red pill. Dudes want to expose sugar babies is crazy. Okay, dudes wanting to expose sugar babies and trying to out them and showing them. Like, I see dudes be like, oh, these OnlyFans girls. Like, I can't stand these dudes that make content like this. But y'all got to do you. I get it, content creators. Oh, these OnlyFans girls, it's over for them. They're going to learn. It's the pin. Guys, you realize y'all cooked? Y'all realize that shit ain't it. Y'all cooked. Because even if they get rid of OnlyFans, they got Fansly, Patreon. Y'all so stupid. They just gonna move to another platform, just like a YouTuber. His YouTube is over. He gotta go. He's done. No, he's not. He got other platforms to go to, Facebook, Twitter. So what dudes are doing is they're just using too much rage, and they want to think it's about exposing women for doing this. We ain't exposing over here. We out here just indulging, having fun. The $1 Million Man. Yeah, somebody said unless they go to prison. Yeah, they're not going to prison. Them girls ain't going for prison for doing this, or they're gonna ruin their lives. 20 years, they're gonna regret it. Okay, whatever, bro. And it's gonna be a new look. They're gonna be a new group of women tomorrow. Every day. I don't know if you guys realize this. In the next 60 days, they're gonna be young 18-year-old women graduating from high school. For the next 60 days, once we hit May. For the next 60 days, they're going to be young 18-year-old women graduating from high school. What do we know about that? That's the next group. So as one group of ladies fall out, the next group takes their place. A percentage of those is going to go JUCO. A percentage of those are going to have a boyfriend. A percentage of those are going to join on OnlyFans. And then next year, and the next year, and the next year, it ain't going to stop. It ain't gonna stop. This shit ain't gonna stop till the casket drop. Every year I get older. Every year they stay the same age. How does that work out? So don't wait for the inevitable fall of the top OnlyFans girl, because next year they're gonna have a new nigga next year. Ice Cube told us they have a new nigga next year. What do you know about female singers? Every year they got a hot little tart, hot in the ass girl sitting up there in hot pants singing, and another one falls off. How do they find the next one? It's always going to be another one, gentlemen. Y'all going to be like, Britney Spears is going to be over, and when that's over, it's over. Every year a new young bitch come up here singing. Skinny, nice, tightly packed. Every year, nigga. It's going to be a new batch of cookies, Krispy Kreme donuts next year, nigga. They going to find another one and next year, bro. Don't ever think it's going to end, bitch, nigga. All right, anyway, shout out to y'all. Shout out to Rudolph A for the sponsorship today. We had co-sponsors from Glenn P. Shout out to you, man. We had some supporters all the way through this shit. Let me make sure I got everybody. Nadar says, I was telling my 60-year-old aunt this. She had no idea what these young women are doing. My cousin is a 30-year-old virgin, and I told her that that's not normal, and she got mad, but it's the truth. A 30-year-old virgin? Like, why? She cooked. Shout out to Nadir with the co-sponsorship out the door. Yeah, somebody said Tyler. Yep, there was Avril Lavigne. Then there was Billie Eilish. Now there's Tyler. All right, it's all good. We'll be back on Twitch tomorrow afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock for a couple of hours, or maybe an hour and a half, chilling like a villain. And then we're on Patreon and locals on Sunday. Doubleheader. Shout out to y'all. Peace.